just gonna be doing like a nice, chill, sit down, chit chat vlog about lessons that I learned during a recent period of burnout and just low mental health that I went through recently. Because we go through hard times for a reason. I'm a firm believer that every challenge that we go through in life is there to teach us a lesson, and that challenges in life are meant to be teachers. I'm just going to be reading some points from my journal because, yeah. So let's go. The first lesson that I learned was how to be closer to my parents. Like I grew a lot closer to my parents. I learned to better talk with them about how I feel and what's going on. In dark times and hard times, and just when things aren't going super smoothly, we have a tendency to try and draw inwards and to try and hide how we feel and just try and fix it by ourselves and just kind of put what's hurting us under a band-aid and try and, shield it from everyone else. We don't want to bother other people with our problems. But a lot of the time, when we're hurting inwards, we need to go outwards to try and heal what's hurting us. Some injuries do heal well under band-aids, but others need to be opened up and put in the open air to heal properly. So one thing that I learned was how to rely more on my parents to help me get through hard times. I used to just hide by myself and try and fix it on my own, but I learned how to talk to them about how I felt and to be more vulnerable with them. And that actually helped me a lot. They were a really strong support system and just a safe place that I could go to when things weren't really going that well and I felt tired and stressed. Another lesson I learned was that we appreciate good times more because we have bad times. And what I wrote in my journal was, I relish my weekends so fully because of the work and time I put in to get to the weekends. We need that diversity. The darker the night, the lighter the morning. And I think that is so true. We sometimes take for granted how good our good times are until something goes wrong. It just becomes normal, the status quo, and then something bad happens and all we want is just to go back to that status quo, just to have that little bit of happiness that we took for granted while we were living it. And because we experience these hard times and these times where things are darker, we can more fully see the light of the good times. If we only had happy times, that's all we would know. They wouldn't be happy, they would just be life. But because we have sad times in life, we can appreciate these good times. And that's just a good thing to remember when you're having a hard time, is that eventually you will get over it and you will be able to relish your happy times more fully. The third thing I learned was to be gentle with myself. And that's literally all I wrote. I learned to be gentle with myself. And that's something that I'm still trying to learn, something I'm still learning more about. In today's society and just in life in general, we have a tendency to try and push ourselves really hard. We feel the need to prove ourselves and to try and live up to expectations that we or others put on us. And if we don't meet these expectations, then we think we're not good enough and that our worth is diminished because we haven't met expectations. But that's not true. Our worth does not come from being successful in our jobs or getting high grades or sounding really good when we play our instruments or getting really high scores in games if we play sports. That's not where our worth comes from. Our worth doesn't come from what other people think of us or what we succeed in or what we put into the world. Our worth is innate. It's a part of us, and we are worthy of being loved and appreciated just because we exist. And so one thing that I've really been learning is that I really just need to release that pressure. It's such a heavy, heavy pressure to try and prove our worth and prove ourselves to other people, because the people that truly love us won't care. And if they care, then we don't want their opinion anyway. The fourth thing that I learned is that I need to put more effort into my mental health by doing things like taking more baths, meditating, and doing yoga often, and using good coping strategies, and most importantly, showing up for the Lord. Mental health is not something that just kind of stays nice. It's not. You don't just put it on a shelf and it just, stays looking beautiful. If you don't take care of it, it's gonna break down. And that's something I think we also take for granted and forget about until it becomes a problem. We don't think about our mental health until it's bad. And one thing that I've really been thinking a lot more about is that my mental health needs to be constantly maintained. It's like a plant. The care for it is gonna look a little different every day. Sometimes it'll need a little more sun, sometimes it'll need a little more water, but it needs to be taken care of every single day. And I need to really be in tune with myself and listening to what I really need and giving myself that, and not putting other things in front of my mental health and be like, it's okay, my mental health is gonna be fine, I feel happy, I feel, we're just chilling, because it's not gonna stay that way if I don't do anything to maintain it. It's a really good idea too to explore those things that help maintain your mental health. I listed some things like taking baths and meditating, and those are things that I found really help me maintain my mental health. But maybe those don't work for you, maybe that's just not for you. And so take time to go and explore what does make you happy, what does maintain your mental health. The next thing I learned was sometimes it's no one's fault. What I wrote is, all I can do is just try to get better. Becoming a victim doesn't help. When we go through hard times, we tend to try and point this finger of blame, like, oh, school is overworking me, it's school's fault. Oh, this person's being mean to me, it's their fault, I feel bad. Oh, poor me, I'm so picked on, I'm not being treated nicely, I'm not being treated right. But sometimes it's not anybody's fault that you feel bad. Sometimes you just are in a low state. Life goes up and down. It happens in phases, kind of in seasons. It's kind of like the heartbeat meter thingy. The reason that we're alive is because it keeps going up and down. If it just was stagnant, that's not really living. We have to have these hard times. Like I was talking about before, we need that diversity. We need to have hard times to feel these good times. And so sometimes we're just going through a hard time just because we need to. It's not exactly someone's fault all the time. We need to stop feeling like a victim, feeling picked on, and life's so hard because everyone's mistreating me and all this and that. Because sometimes it's just not anyone's fault, and so it doesn't do any good to feel so picked on. Oh, this is a big one. Set boundaries and stick to them. A big reason I was getting so burned out was because I wasn't sticking to my boundaries at all. I was just doing whatever anyone asked me to do. Like, oh, can you do this? Oh, yeah, sure, I love you. Or can you do this? Oh, yeah, sure, I love to. Even though I really didn't want to, and it didn't feel right, and I knew I didn't have the time and energy for all these different things. I was just, saying yes to whatever. But that's what led to me being burned out. And so I was really reminded how important it is to have these good boundaries. To be like, this is okay, this is not quite okay, I don't like this. And so a good rule of thumb to remember with boundaries is that if it's not a heck yes, it's usually a no. And that's just my personal rule. If it's not a heck yes, it's a no. A good example for how I learned to set better boundaries, I have discovered recently I'm very sensitive to what I watch in movies. I am not very brave, and that is okay. We all have different limits on what we can take in life. But I watched a movie with a friend, and I was like, oh, well, I know that there might be some things in this movie I'm not really comfy with, but I'm not gonna say anything. I'll be fine. I was not fine. I was a little freaked out. And so after that, I decided, I'm like, she's my friend. She's not gonna care. And so I texted her about it, and I was like, hey, next time we watch a movie like that, could we maybe skip the scenes I know would make me uncomfortable? And she's like, oh yeah, I'd love to. I'm sorry you felt that way, but yes, we'll totally go for it. And I was like, why was I so stressed about it? Why didn't I just say something? She was so understanding about it. I was like, I knew she was gonna be like that. She's my friend. She has my best interests at heart, and so she's gonna respect my boundaries. And another thing to remember about boundaries is that the more you stick to them, the easier it is to maintain them. For example, going back to the story I was telling you about the movie, like a week later I watched a movie with a different group of friends, and it was another movie I knew might have some things I would be a little uncomfortable with, and I didn't even have to deliberate. I just thought about it, I'm like, oh, I should say something, and so I just said something. It's like, hey, could we like skip any scenes that might be a little freaky? And they're like, oh yeah, of course. And it was so much easier for me to say something because I had stuck to that boundary before. And so just remember to set your boundaries, define what is okay, what's not okay, and then stick to it. The last lesson that I wrote down is that it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to not do anything about it. I think it's really sad that in life when things go wrong, we think it's bad. Like it's not okay that we don't feel okay. Like, oh, something's wrong with me because I'm sad. Something's wrong with me because I'm not appreciating these blessings I have in life. I'm not a good friend because I don't have the energy to show up all the time. I'm bad at this, I'm bad because of this. And it's just, we put so much negativity into feeling negative. But it's not bad to not feel okay. It's normal. It's part of life. You are meant to not feel okay sometimes. And so if you catch yourself being negative on yourself, being like, oh, why am I being so ungrateful? Why am I feeling so depressed? Why I should feel happy, but I'm not. Just recognize that and then just let it go. You don't feel okay? That's okay. It becomes not okay when you choose not to do anything about it. You're just like, oh, it's just how it's gonna be, I guess. No, it doesn't have to be that way. Sure, you feel sad. It's okay to feel sad. But it's not okay to just neglect that. If you're sad, then that is a sign that you have something that you need to address in your life, and that you have lessons that you need to learn. You have things you need to do for yourself. Maybe you need to talk to someone. Maybe you need to do some yoga and take a bath. So do it. It's okay to be sad. It's not okay to not do anything about it. I hope you guys are gonna like this video. Just some of my thoughts and some lessons that I've learned recently. I hope if you guys are going through any hard times, this can inspire you to look at your challenges from a new perspective and try and see what lessons you can learn. And I definitely learned a lot from this experience. It's still been a little rough. I'm still trying to pick myself back up. But stay tuned for some more videos on how to be gentle on yourself and how to take better care of yourself. And as always, you can like and comment and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on that bell to be notified whenever we post new videos. And comments are up, in case you guys didn't know. They were turned off with the first video. I don't know why, but they are back up. So go ahead and leave some comments. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please stay tuned for more. Hi, a quick update from Editing Annika. I have recently set up an Instagram for this channel. It's called Stay Sunny Official. It will be in the description below, so please check it out. You can follow to be updated on things happening in my life as well as on this channel, and it can be another way for you to connect with me and have a little input on what happens in this channel. So go ahead and check that out, and I love you. And of course, always feel loved and stay sunny.